This is a tutorial to show you exactly how you can create your own simple website, just like this one. Well, the same quality as this one. You will of course customize it to look how you want it to look. But in this video, I'll show you how to create this exact website. With almost no effort, it will look really good on all screen sizes and devices. I'll have a preview of how this website looks on a PC, tablet, and a mobile phone playing. As I've mentioned, the main focus of this series is to show you how to easily create your own simple website like this, completely free. Well, almost free. As with every website, you need a hosting account. This is a cost that can't be avoided. That only costs several dollars a month though, and apart from that, there will be no other costs. Nowadays, everyone searches Google whenever they're looking for a new business or a service, and if you don't have a website, you're not even going to show up as a result. Something simple like this website that explains what you do and how they can contact you is all you need. We will be using WordPress to build our website. WordPress is the most popular website platform in the world, and rightfully so. It's open source, which means that it's 100% free for anyone to use. It's so easy to use, and it lets you control your entire website and create it using a point-and-click interface. It's updated all the time, adding more features and also patching any bugs or security issues. And WordPress has a crazy big fan base, which has a few benefits. You can find help very quickly whenever you need it. And there's also a lot of free themes, plugins, and extensions that you can use. And also, of course, premium paid ones. I don't want to make this video sound like that it's a sales pitch for WordPress, so that's enough about that. But I will say that with a little bit of guidance, any normal person can easily make their own website using WordPress. To make this tutorial as easy to follow as possible, I suggest that you use the same hosting company as me and also the same theme. I'll cover those as we go. So let me show you how to create a simple business website. To create a website, the first thing we're going to need is a domain name and a website hosting account. For this, I will be using SiteGround. If you don't already have a hosting company you want to use, then I recommend trying out SiteGround as well. You can find a link to the SiteGround website below this video. If you are going to sign up with SiteGround and you want to support me, just use that link below this video. From the SiteGround website, we can see that there are 4 hosting options. We just want to select the WordPress hosting. Now we can see that WordPress comes with 3 hosting plans. We're going to be picking between the Startup plan and the Grow Big plan. The Startup plan is the cheapest entry and it will be perfectly fine. The Grow Big plan improves on the Startup plan and it allows you to host multiple websites if that's something you want. And the other main benefit is the Super Cacher. This is a premium extra and it just makes your website load faster. So the benefits of the Grow Big plan aren't needed, but if you don't mind the extra couple dollars, they're a nice bonus to have. I will be selecting the Grow Big plan. This way I can show you Super Cacher as well. Now we need to enter our domain name. If you already have a domain name, you can choose that option here that you've already got one. But I'm going to be registering a new domain name. If we click this .com drop down here, you can choose from a range of domain extensions. If you're making this website for a local business, then I recommend that you try to get a country-specific domain name. Otherwise, you can just choose whichever domain extension that you like. Now, if the domain name that you want is already taken, you're going to need to play around with your wording, or you can even change the extension that you selected and try and find one that's available. So I'll go with TWT, which is short for the website teacher, and then WP for WordPress. Okay, so that's taken. Domain names don't allow spaces, but we can actually use a hyphen if we want to. Typically, you'd try to not use a hyphen, but if you're having trouble getting a domain name that you like that's available, then you can use a hyphen to make it more unique and find one that is available. So I'll try twt-wp.com. Great, so that one's available. Once you find a domain name that is available, you'll have to fill out some personal details. So this is the account, client, and payment information. Once you've filled those out, we can now review the purchase information. So just check the plan. Mine is Grow Big, which is correct. Now the data center, this is actually where your website is hosted. Now this is automatically selected for you based on your location. So I recommend that you don't change this. Period is how much you want to pay for this hosting in advance. Now, since you do get a decent discount on your first purchase, I recommend buying as much in advance as you can afford. When you register a domain name, your registration information is attached to the domain name to mark you as the owner. This information is publicly accessible. Enabling the domain privacy option, this will mask your information so that it isn't publicly accessible. So this is optional, but check this if you like. The SG site scanner, this is also optional, which I'm going to leave unticked as we won't need that. And now we just need to tick that we agree to the terms and conditions because we totally read it all. Like that's who doesn't read the terms and conditions? And now we can just click pay now. So this will complete the purchase, and now we can move on to creating our website. Before we go to our customer area, we need to check our emails because there'll be 1 or 2 emails that have something we need to verify. So switching over to my emails, I have 3 emails from SiteGround. The first one is just my receipt. The second one requires me to actually do something. This email may vary depending on the domain extension that you chose. Each domain extension has different requirements. Opening this, I can see that it wants me to verify some information that I used to register the domain name. I'll click this link to do that. So it wants me to verify my name and my email, which these are both correct. So I'll just click verify. All right, so that's done. Now back to the third email. This one wants me to set up my consent preferences. So I'll do that now. So this is actually optional. I don't have to consent to this. So I'm just going to leave both these options unticked and then just save those settings. Back at the emails, we should have actually gotten one covering information about our hosting account. Now, for some reason, Gmail has actually filtered this into promotions. So I'm just going to tell Gmail to move this to my primary inbox. So this email just contains my login information and a few details about my hosting account, along with some starter guides if you need those. All right, so with that covered, I'm going to go back to my purchase page and proceed to the customer area. If you close that page, you can just click the link here or go to my.siteground.com. Before we have access to managing the hosting aspects of our new website, like emails or file manager, we need to run through the create website process. Under the websites tab, you'll see that there's the new domain that we just registered, which is currently pending. So we need to set this up by clicking the complete link here. Now we want to start a new website. We want to select WordPress. This WordPress plus WooCommerce, this is for creating an online store. We just want to create a simple website, so we just want WordPress. We need to enter our login details for our admin account. You can type in your own password or you can generate one, but whatever details you enter here, make sure you write them down somewhere or make sure you remember those because you'll need these to log into the admin side of WordPress whenever you want to work on your website. Now just click continue. So we had these 2 options when we first signed up for our account, the SG site scanner and the domain privacy. If you've changed your mind on these and you want one of those, you can just add that here if you like. I won't be, so I'll just click finish. This won't take too long. It's just configuring our new website and installing WordPress. Okay, so we're done. Since our domain is hosted with SiteGround, we can ignore this point your domain box on the left here. SiteGround do this for us. We could click this manage site link here to go to our site tools for our new website. However, I'll show you how you do it normally since this page won't come up again. It's simple. We just click on the websites tab. Now our website is no longer pending and there's a bunch of other stuff here as well. We just want to click on the site tools button here. From here, we can control the hosting for our website. We can set up email accounts, manage files. In this tutorial series, I won't be going into any detail here. I'll have a tutorial series for SiteGround hosting on using all this stuff. Once those tutorials are done, you'll find them at thewebsiteteacher.com. With our website now set up and WordPress installed, let's see what it looks like. I'll go to twt-wp.com. So this is it. Your website is now complete. It's beautiful. So my job here is done. Okay, so WordPress is successfully installed and it's working on our website, but as you've probably noticed, it's pretty blank and kind of really plain. So our next step is to log into WordPress and start making our website our own. To log into WordPress, enter in your domain name and at the end type /wp-admin. You can use this URL to access the admin side of WordPress whenever you need to. Enter in the login details that you set up during installation. SiteGround put in a bit of effort to improve your WordPress experience. So the first time you log in, you will see this, which is a quick wizard that helps you select a theme and install some plugins. If you don't see this when you sign in, you should have a link on the dashboard of WordPress where you can click Start Now, and this should load the same page. SiteGround is sure to change things around in the future. So if you don't see any of this, or if you're not actually with SiteGround, don't worry. After the wizard, I'll quickly go through and show you how you can install the same things the wizard installs yourself. We can start the wizard by selecting Start Now. The first step of the wizard is to choose a theme for our website. Think of this as the general design and feel of your website. We still customize everything to be our own, but it will be within the style of the theme that we choose. All of these themes are free. You can purchase premium themes that look amazing. However, the purpose of this tutorial is to create a quick and simple website for a business without it costing anything, except for hosting, but that's a cost that we can't avoid. So we are going to use one of these free themes. You can always change your theme later, so don't be too worried about picking a theme here. You can scroll down this list and it will keep expanding, showing you more as you go, but there are quite a lot. So to help you find a theme, you might want to use the search box at the top here, or you can click one of the categories to filter the list. I'll have a look at the travel category. You can preview any of these themes by just hovering over the image for that theme and clicking on that. I'll take a look at this Your Next Travel theme. This bar up the top, it's not actually part of the theme. This is here to help you navigate between themes. You can use this drop down. You can click Select to select this theme, or you can press the cross here to go back to the list of themes. So this is what this theme looks like. Now, if I wanted to see how this would appear on a mobile, we can do this if we're using Google Chrome. You can press F12 on the keyboard and then click on this icon here for the device toolbar. And now I'll just make sure iPhone 10 is selected as the device. And this will show me what this would look like on an iPhone 10. Okay, so I like this theme. I'm going to use this one. I'll close the Developer Tools panel. And I'll also close this preview. Now I'll click the select button for the theme I want. So this pop-up, it's just notifying us that the Elementor plugin will be installed with this theme. Now that's a good thing. This plugin is very helpful for designing new pages on your site that look good. So just click to confirm that. Next, SiteGround has a few recommended plugins that we can install. Jetpack is a good statistics plugin, so I will be enabling this. I won't be using the shop or the calendar plugin. You can enable those if you like. And now just click continue. So here are some SEO related plugins. So Google Analytics, this gives us tracking statistics for who visits our website, how many people visit our website, what pages they visit, where they're from, the device they're using. It gives us a lot of really useful information. So I will be enabling Google Analytics. I also want to enable this Optimize for SEO plugin. This one is great for customizing the SEO aspects of each page. I'll show you this in use later. I won't be worrying about this subscriber list plugin. It's free for 30 days, but we would then need to pay to continue using it after. So I'll just click complete and this will install everything that I just selected. Okay, so that's done. Now I do want to view my website, but first I'm going to click go back to dashboard and I'll view my site in a new tab. Okay, so this looks exactly like the preview of the theme that we just saw. This is good as it gives us a good starting point and we can customize and build on top of this. So back on our admin side, we were redirected to this Welcome to Elementor page. There is a quick video here, which I suggest that you watch. It's only about a minute long and it gives you a quick look at how Elementor is used to create a new page on your website. Before I move on, I want to quickly show you how you can install everything that the wizard just installed, in case you couldn't use that wizard for whatever reason. First, we installed a theme, so let's do that. Go to Appearance and then select Themes. This will show a list of currently installed themes and also the current active theme. So to install a new theme, just click Add New at the top. WordPress has a huge list of free themes, and all these themes are free. You can filter or view themes by popular, featured, the latest, or filtered. To filter one, just select the filters you'd like and click Apply Filter. But once you find a theme you want, just install that and activate it. Next, you would need to install some plugins. So go to Plugins and Add New. You can search for plugins by name. So let's search for the ones that we had installed for us. So the first one was Jetpack, which we can see is already installed. Next, we had the Analytics or Google Analytics plugin. So if I search for Google Analytics, you can see that this is the one we had installed for us. The SEO plugin was called Yoast SEO. And it didn't mention this, but we also had a Contact Forms plugin installed. This one was called WP Forms. And finally, you would want to install the Elementor plugin. So if you didn't have the wizard, installing those should bring you up to date with us. Before we start customizing our website, let's configure our global settings and some SEO stuff. From our WordPress dashboard, we'll go to Settings and we'll start with General. Site title. This is the name of our website. My WordPress is not what I want my website to be called, so I'll change that. Tagline. A tagline isn't for everyone, and most businesses won't use a tagline. So if you don't want a tagline, just leave this blank. I'll just add my attempt to teach WordPress. Our WordPress and our site address are the same, so we don't need to change these. A nice feature with SiteGround is that our website comes automatically set up with SSL encryption enabled. So I'm going to change this HTTP here to HTTPS. I'll change that for both. That way, by default, our WordPress website will use HTTPS, which is the more secure way to access a website. Our email is good. We are creating a standard website, so we don't need memberships, so I'll leave this off. We can ignore the new user role. If this is incorrect, you can change the site language. We'll set up our time zone. You can select this using the direct value, or you can search for your location. The rest of this is optional, so if you want to change any of these, feel free. Next, we want to change some permalink settings. Permalink settings are where we can configure how the URL is displayed for the pages of our website. Our homepage is directly on oursite.com, but if I go to my current site and I go to the About Us page or the About page, I would want this to be mysite.com/about. But currently it is actually showing as /index.php/about. The index.php is added by default for WordPress, as not every hosting company supports removing it. This is due to how WordPress works. SiteGround does support this, so I'm going to go back to the permalink settings and I'm going to remove index.php here. So I'll save those. And now if I go back to my website and go to the home page to refresh the links, and now if I click About, we can see that it shows up as just /about. Later on, when you're creating other pages for your website, if any of these URLs up here don't show exactly how you want it to, come back to the permalink section and you can configure that here. The Yoast SEO plugin we installed allows us to customize the metadata and all the SEO related data for our individual pages, but it also has some global settings. So let's set up those global settings now. Go to SEO on the menu and select General. Yoast has a convenient configuration wizard for the first time setup, so let's use that. Click Configuration Wizard. If you want to tell Google to hold off on displaying your website in any search results, then select option B. But it usually takes Google a few days or even a few weeks to index a website or a new website. So here I'm going to select option A, as I plan to have this website completely finished before Google even index it. And now I'll go next. If this website is for a local business, then you'll likely want to set this to a small offline business. Otherwise, pick whichever best represents your website. In most cases, you'll want to select organization here. Even if you're a plumber and you work alone, you'll still want to select organization because you want this to show up as a business in Google search. If this website was your personal website about you, then you would select person here. Enter your business name. Upload a logo. Now I don't have any social links for this fake business, but just fill out any social accounts that you do have and then click next. For our simple website, we are only going to have pages, and in some cases at most, we might have some posts. So I'll leave both of those set to yes, but I'll set the last two to no. You can edit these settings at any time, so don't worry about setting something wrong. So next. If you plan on adding a blog to your website, and you may have multiple people posting to that, you can select yes here. I will be leaving this set to no, and I'll click next. Now we set up our website name in general settings, so that's already here, so I'll leave that. So the separator is used on any page of your website where you also show your page title or the website name. For example, if I wanted my about page to also show my site title, this would show with about, hyphen, and then my website name. So the separator is the hyphen, so we can change this to something else if we want to. Personally, I like the pipe icon, so I'll go with that. Next. You can sign up to this if you like. I won't be. Next. You can watch any of these. I'll just go next. And we're done. We can close this to go back. That will do for the initial settings. You can click this reopen the wizard link here at any time if you need to change any of those settings. So for example, if you selected to not have Google index your website, when you're ready, you can change these settings, go back in and edit that. Now WordPress gets updates often, and so do many of the plugins. You can review all available updates, including updates to WordPress and themes, by going to Dashboard and then select Updates. So I have no update for WordPress or themes, but I do have 2 plugins that require an update. So I can select both of those here and then just select Update Plugins. This will take a moment. And that's done. So you can come back here to check for updates on WordPress or plugins. It's time to start customizing our website. Up until now, you would have been able to follow along step by step exactly. However, with customizing our website, you might have selected a different theme to me. Different themes have different options you can customize. Even if you selected the same theme, you will want to customize the options to suit you and your website, not just copy the same ones I'm changing. With that said, what I show you now will be the same process that you can use to customize any theme. So this should give you the ability to customize yours. The first thing on my website is the header and the navigation bar. This is on every page of the website, so we won't be customizing this with Elementor, which you use to customize pages. We will customize this through the WordPress theme customizing. From our admin side of WordPress, go to Appearance and then select Customize. There's a bunch of stuff here. You can play around with all of it and familiarize yourself with what does what. When you make a change here, it should be instantly shown in the preview window. Don't worry about going crazy with changes for testing because no changes are saved until you select Publish. To edit the header, we want to select Header, and I'll start with General. we can change the height of our header. I prefer mine to be a little thicker, so I'll increase this to about 90. And I'm not a big fan of this aqua color. So in the background color, I'll change this to a darker blue. Okay, that's better, but I think I'll actually go for a transparent background. I can do this by changing the style to transparent. Okay, so not bad, but I want to have a darker transparent background. When I changed the style to transparent, this transparent settings appeared. Let's set the background color here to black, and I'll drag the opacity down to about 10%. Okay, I like that. So I'll click back. Now we're still under the header, but now I want to modify the menu. We can change the position of the menu items. I prefer mine to just stay on the right, so I'll set this back to a right. If you're unsure of what a setting does, just try it and see what happens. This link effect is when I hover over a menu item, this line appears. I can change this to another one, but I think I like the underline up best, so I'll leave it on that. I can change the color of that line, so let's try a red. Let's try blue. All right, I think I'll stick with white, but I'll set the opacity to 75% so that it's not such a strong standout white. Now there are a lot of settings here, and I don't want to make a single video that takes an hour just on customizing the header. So you can just play around with all the settings to customize it how you like. But one thing I want to do is remove this search icon. So if I just scroll down to the search icon, I can disable this. And I also want to make the text to be a little larger. For the theme I have, this is actually back under typography and then main menu. I only want to change the size, so I'll increase the font from 13 to 18. Okay, so that's better. So the last thing I want to do with the header is to change the logo. So I'll go back. For me, this is under header, then logo. I'm going to customize this website as if I was a hairdresser. So I'll upload my logo. This is showing a little small, so I'll increase the maximum width here to 200. Nice, so that's my header done. I'm happy with that. While I'm here, I will quickly modify the footer since that is also on every page. I'll go back and then I'll select footer bottom. Now I don't mind the footer bar here. The only thing I'll change is the text. So I'll go with copyright 2019 fab styles. And now I'll click publish and that's done. As you modify other parts of your website, you'll likely need to edit more settings here. So just come back whenever you need to and modify more. Just a quick note, I went back and I edited the underline color for my menu items to pink. This way it matches my logo better. Now let's edit the home page itself. We can close this, go to pages and then all pages. If I hover my mouse over any of these pages, extra icons will appear or extra options. I want to select Edit with Elementor for my home page. Typically, you would edit a page for your WordPress website using the built-in text editor. Now this is good if you're just editing blog posts and you're adding some text and images, but when you're trying to stylize a whole page, it's very difficult to do this directly in the text editor. This is where we use a page builder like Elementor, which makes this process much easier. There are other extensions just like Elementor, and in my opinion, Elementor isn't the best one, but Elementor offers one of the best free versions of a page builder. They have a pro version, but you don't need that, and you can create your entire page with the free version, which ties in with our budget perfectly. The page is broken up into sections. We get this navigator window here that we can use to jump between the different sections. When you mouse over the page, you will see this blue outline appear around a section. You'll see this more clearly with the buttons that appear at the top. I'll edit my homepage from top to bottom, so we'll start with this feature image. I like this, but I want to change the images to more relevant images. I can click on the image itself to select this for editing, but I can also use the navigator. If I expand this first section, we can see that there is one column, which makes sense because there's only one image here that's the full width. But if I expand this, I can see the image carousel here. Now if I select this, it will be the active item being edited in the control panel on the left. That was a simple example, but when you have a lot more in one section, it can be hard to click on what you want to edit directly. So this is where the navigator makes it much easier. Currently, there are 3 images here, but unless I am an unconventional hairdresser, none of those are relevant to me. So I'm going to trash all of those by clicking this trash icon. I am sure, yes, delete. Now it looks like the image carousel is gone, but that's only because there are no images to show. So let's add some. I'll upload 3 images that I have for this. I'll click on the plus icon in the images box. I want to upload files. Select files. I'll select my 3 images and then select open. This will upload those 3 files and automatically select each of those. So I can just click create new gallery and then I can select insert gallery. The images I used were 1250 pixels by 650 pixels. You can use whatever size you want, but you should use the same size for all the images. I can see this dotted box over my image. These are actually part of another section, but I'm unable to select it since it's behind the image. So I'll use the navigator and select the second section. This is actually meant to be showing on top of the image, not behind. You can fix this. You can fix up the order of content by selecting the item, and then under the Advanced tab, we can select to edit the Z index value. By default, everything is 0, so I can set this to 1 and it will show up on the top of the image. Think of the Z index as a deck of cards, and the card with the highest value sits on top. This is currently showing the latest blog posts. I don't want this, so I'll delete this. If I mouse over this box, you'll see the edit column icon appear. I'll right click on this and then select delete. I want to add a small title, some text and a button to the left of my image here. From the panel in the left, I'll click this icon in the top right. This will list all the elements that I can add to the page. I want to add a title, so I'll drag this heading option over and I'll drop that into that column. I'll edit the text to say, I'll go with snippy haircuts. Sounds about right. Probably should have used that for the business name. Okay, so I want this to be larger, so I'll change the size to XL. I want it to be white, so I'll go to Style and then change the text color to white. Now add a small text area under that. I'll click this icon again to show all the elements, and then I'll drag this text editor element under the header that I just created. I'll change the text to something more relevant. Alright, I need to make that a little bigger. I'll select it all, and then I'll change it from paragraph 4 to header 4. With it all selected, I'll toggle the more options here for the toolbar, and then I'll change the color. I'll go custom, and I'll select not fully white, but a light gray. I'll go back to the elements, and now I'll drag down a button under that text. I'll change the text to Get in Touch. I'll set the link to be my contact page, which will be /contact. I'll align this to the right, and I'll change the size to be medium. To change the color of the button, we'll need to go to Style, and then we have to change the background color. I'll change this to my pink that I am using. The hex code for my color is FF00FF. Now if we select this hover option here, this will let us change what happens when we hover over the button. I want to change it so that it's a little darker when I hover over the button. So I'll type in my hex color again, but now I'll drag down the color so that it's a little darker. Cool, so now when I hover over the button, it will darken. I could add an icon to this button, but I think I'll just leave it without one. So let's save that and see how it looks. Okay, so I like it. Let's edit the next section. I have been showing every step so far, but I'll speed this up so that I can complete this page faster. I'll keep this section, but I'll modify this to be more of an About Us section. I'll edit this image, upload my own, and insert that. This section is overlapped by the one above. I want to change this, so I'll select its section, and then under Advanced, I'll increase the top margin to 450. Okay, so that's good. Now I'll just edit this pre-header. The title, I'll also change this to be my pink color. And I'll edit the text. I'll change this text here to be follow me on social. I don't want either of these buttons, so I'll delete those. And now I'll select to add a new element, and I'll search for social, and then I can drag these social icons over. It gives us 3 by default. I'll keep Facebook and Twitter, but I'll modify the Google to be Instagram. Icon library, filter by Insta, and then selected and hit insert. So it's showing as black. I'll change this to a custom color, and I'll add it as a pinkish purple color. Now I don't actually have any social links, but I could add those here. The next section has 3 images with the title under them. I'll keep this, but I'll modify this one as well. I'll make it kind of like a info block of my services. I'll change the image. I'll edit the title. Let's call this one Curly de Hair. So it's got a shadow that I don't like. So under Style, I'll click Reset for Text Shadow. And I also want to change the text color to my pink. Now I'll add a text element under the header. And I'll give this one a bit of a description. I'll align this text to center. All right, that's nice. Since I want the other 2 here to be the exact same style as this one, I'll delete both of those columns. And then I'll duplicate this first column twice. And now I'll just quickly edit both of those. Ah, it's so beautiful. Now the blog. I don't want this, but I do want to keep the header. The heading is actually a section on its own, so I can delete the section below it that shows these 3 blog posts. I can do this by selecting it and then clicking this delete button for the section. I'll change this title to be My Recent Cuts and make that pink. Perfect. So these images, I'll swap these out for my own images. So the images I use here would be of my previous work. So I'll select this by clicking on one. It has this pop-up that shows the image, but I can close that. And I can see that this has made the gallery be the current element being edited in the panel on the left. So I'll click the trash icon to remove all those images. I'll upload my 3 images. I could add more later if I wanted to, but I think that looks good for me. So this next section here is showing the end of the homepage. We could use this to add another section if we wanted to keep going. For now, I am happy with the homepage. This join our newsletter being displayed at the bottom. This is not part of the page. It's part of the global thing that's with the footer. So you can edit this under the footer widget part of the customizing a theme. So I'm just going to update this and then check out how that looks. That's the homepage complete. I won't do this for every page as it is repetitive, and doing so would make this video more boring than it already is. In the next video, I'll show you how to edit this newsletter sign up, and we'll also edit the Contact Us page. At the bottom of the page, we have this newsletter sign up form. We can choose to remove this, or we can customize it to match our style. Join our newsletter is a footer widget. We can confirm this by selecting footer widget. And if we uncheck this enable option here, we can see that the form disappears. If I wanted to delete this form, I could leave this disabled here. I want to keep it, and I'm going to customize it to match my style instead. Note that the settings here are for my theme, which is Ocean WP. If you're using a different theme, the footer widgets or the footer area may be handled differently. The settings here are for the footer widgets section, not the actual widgets themselves. This template here is responsible for what is being shown in the footer widget area, which can be found under Theme Panel, My Library. So let's go there. I'll go to the Theme Panel. It's asking me to opt in for notifications for the Ocean WP theme. I'll just skip this. Now we need to go to My Library, which is in the navigation to the left. Here we can see the custom footer. Let's edit this with Elementor. If we wanted to redesign our footer widget area, we could add more columns, more content, and even additional sections. I want to keep this simple, so I'll change the style only and just leave it as is. I'll click Edit on the title to make it the active element. Then I'll go to the Style tab and I'll change the text color. I'll change this to my pink. I want the text to be a little larger, so back under the Content tab, I'll just change the size to large. Now I'll select Edit for the Your Email and Go button. To collect emails and send newsletters, or just email large lists of people, it is best to use an email marketing service. This is already set up for us using MailChimp. So in this case, we would need to sign up to MailChimp and then edit some of the details on the settings page for that. There's a link here to take us there, but we'll finish customizing this first. I'll change what the placeholder text says to enter your email. We could also change what the button text says, but I'll leave this as just go. This button doesn't have an option here to change its color, so this would be using the default color for the theme. So I'll change that in a moment. I want to change the background of the email input box to white, just so that it stands out a little more. So under the Advanced tab, expand background, and I'll change the color to white. With the social links, I'll keep Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, but I'll delete this fourth one. I'll change each of these to be a custom color of my pink. That's all we can change here. So I'll update those changes. And then open the menu and select Exit to Dashboard. We need to edit the default color our theme is using for buttons. So to do this, we'll go back to Appearance and Customize. The default button color for Ocean WP theme is under General Options and then Theme Buttons. I'll scroll down to the newsletter so that we can see these changes. I'll change the background color to my pink and then the background hover color to a darker pink. Now it's pink, and if I hover over, it will darken. This button here is blue. Let's change this to a pink as well. This is the scroll to top button, so it will be back under General Options and then scroll to top. So I'll change the background color to my pink, and I'll change the hover color to a darker pink. With the form now fully customized, let's look at how we could connect this to a MailChimp account. I'll close the customization, select Theme Panel from the navigation, and then I'll select this Integrations tab. You would enter your API key and the ID for the list you want new signups to be added to. If you need help understanding this section, you can click this link here to follow this article. MailChimp have a free account that you can use to get started. If you find that you really value it, you can upgrade to a paid account that has more features and bigger limits. Otherwise, just stick to the free account, or you can delete the newsletter altogether. To begin with, we kept everything simple, and we just customized the homepage that came with the demo. If you have limited time and you just want something quick to get your website up for your business, then customizing the included pages is completely fine. I want to take a moment now to cover Elementor in a little more detail so that you can better create and customize your pages. I could work more on the homepage and add new sections or improve current sections, but it's best if I show you how to create a new page from scratch and how to make that look good and suit your theme. Our menu currently has Home, About, Adventure, which doesn't suit my website at all, Blog, which I don't want, and Contact. Since this is a simple business website, I only want Home, Services, About, and Contact. So I want to edit this menu to remove Adventure and Blog, and also to add a new one for Services. So let's do that now. From the WordPress dashboard, we can go to Appearance, then Menus. We can see our menu items listed here. I'll expand and then remove Adventure. And I'll also remove Blog. I want to add Services, but I haven't created that page yet, so I don't have that option to add that here. So I'll go create that page now. So Save Menu to save those changes. And go to Pages and Add New. This is the default WordPress page editor, which isn't bad, but we want to use Elementor. So first, we'll just give this page a title. I'll call this Our Services. When I add this to the menu, I'll call it Services, but the actual page itself, I'll call Our Services. I want to change this content layout option here to 100% full width. This will allow me to have some content like images span the entire width of the page or screen. Now I'll click Edit with Elementor. There's already some stuff here on this page. These are showing because they're set to globally show on every page of WordPress. This is controlled by my theme. I like the idea of having a consistent page title section on all of my pages, so I'll keep this, but I want to customize it so that it suits me better. I don't want breadcrumbs, and I want to change the image. I can do this through the theme customizing section, so I'll go back to my WordPress dashboard, go to Appearance, and then Customize. To remove the sidebar, I'll go to the General Options, and then General Settings. For my theme, this is where I can choose the default layout of my pages. I want to change this layout from right sidebar to full width so that there is no sidebar. Okay, so that's gone. Let's customize the page title. Again, for me, this is back under General Options and Page Title. I want to disable the breadcrumbs. I'll change the background image to one of my images. This has a hint of blue to it. That's because this overlay color is set to blue. I'll change this back to its default, which is a dark overlay. I'll edit the text color to my pink. Okay, so that's good, but I want the text to be larger. It's a little annoying since they don't have the page title font size in the general options part. For this, we need to go back to typography, and then I need to select page title. I'll change the font family to Acme, and I'll also set the transformation or text transformation to uppercase. And I'll change the font size all the way up to 76 pixels. I want it to be large. Since this is large, it'll likely look bad on a mobile phone. Let's turn to mobile phone view and have a look. You can change the preview by switching between these three options: desktop, tablet, and mobile. Tablet isn't too bad. It may be a little large though, but on mobile, it looks horrible. And I can see the logo is also too large, or there's not enough room, so it's pushing the menu button down. So let's fix this. Many settings will have the ability to enable different values for different devices, so desktop, tablet, or mobile. I can enable this by clicking on this icon. Let's do tablet first. I'll give the tablet's custom size font of 50 pixels. So that's good, and the menu still looks good on a tablet. So I'll switch to mobile. I'll give this a custom size of 35 pixels, which is good, but I still need to fix up the logo. With mobile still the active view, I'll go back and I'll go to header and then logo. I can drag this max width bar until I see where it pushes the menu button down, and I can set it so that it's just before this. The other option I can do here is, since the logo isn't crazy large, I could remove this menu text for the button. I can do this back under header and then mobile menu. If I untick this display menu text option, then the menu toggle button is small enough to fit nicely. Okay, so that's all good. I'll publish those updates. With that out of the road, let's go back to creating our services page. I'll close this customization. And pages, all pages. I'll mouse over our services and then select Edit with Elementor. Great, so this is how every page of my website will look as a starting point. We can build our page manually by creating sections and dragging in different elements, but let's take a look at templates. So if I click this folder icon here, I can add a template. We can see that there's a heap of page templates to select from. This is great to give you a quick layout for a page that you can simply customize. The ones with this small pro tag, these aren't available unless you have the paid version of Elementor. All the others though are free, so we'll just stick with the free ones. I'll select one of these and click on Insert. So this is a full page design with an area for your logo, feature image, and this doesn't really work well for what I want. Since I already have a logo and top navigation bar, I don't want this section here, so I could delete this whole section. And I could just modify this to better suit my page. But I think I'll just undo the insert and I'll choose a different template item. In the bottom left, we have this history panel that we can view. And here we can see all the changes that we have made in this current edit of the page. All I have done is import that template. So I'll just click this editing started to undo that insert. And I'll click add template again. This time though, instead of inserting a full page, I'll have a look at the blocks tab. These are pre-designed blocks that we can use to build out our website. We can add any block we want and customize it. Again, take note of the tags. The pro ones aren't available for free. I'm going to build our services page by selecting some blocks rather than inserting an entire page template. So for the first section, I would like to have just a bit of an intro. So I'll select this first one and then select Insert. I only want the text parts. I don't want this button, so I'll delete the section that has the button. I'll edit the title to "We are more than simple cutters of hair." I'll go to the Style tab and change the text color to pink. Let's say on this title, for people viewing from a computer, I wanted this title to be over one line instead of two. The blank space on either side here is controlled by the section that the title and elements are in. So select the section that we want to edit. In this case, they have used this content width option as boxed and have set a width of 700 pixels. So I can simply increase the slider to get the layout that I desire. And that's good. And for the sake of saving time, I won't edit this paragraph. I'll leave it as the sample text. I'll select to add a new template. Now I want a block that lists off some of my services. I'll add this one that has an image in the center and two icon blocks on either side. I'll change this image to one of mine. In total, there are 4 info blocks here. If I wanted more, I could right click on one of these and then I could select duplicate. And that would add another one that I could edit. I could do this to both sides. However, I only want the 4, so I'll remove this. I'll change the icon for this first one. We can use the built-in icon library, but if you can't find any icons in here that you want, then you could search for your own icons online and you can upload the SVG. That's a little more involved and I don't have any custom icons for this, so I'll stick to the icon library. I'll search for cut and then I'll select these scissor icon. I think for this part I'll make the icons pink and the text a dark grey. I don't want both pink as that would be a little bit too much. Under the style tab, I'll change the icon to pink. And then for content, I'll change the color to 333333, which is just a dark grey. All right, so that's good. I'll jump ahead and edit the remaining blocks. All right, so I'll add another template. Instead of looking through the list this time, I'll try the search box. I'll search for service. This will filter the results and hopefully make it easier to find what I'm looking for. I'll add this one here as it lets me add more information about my services. I'll change this service pre-title to price guideline. I'll change the title to our prices are very competitive, and I'll change the color of this to pink. These items here can be expanded and collapsed. I'll use these to group my pricing into categories. I'll rename the first one to men's, and then for the text, I'll edit this to have a service and a price per line. I have no idea on the services and correct pricing here, so I'm just making all this up. I'll also create a second one for women's. And I'll also add a third one for other stuff. With the fourth one, I will just remove this as I don't want that. Okay, so that's good. Now I want to add another block. So I'll go add template. This time I want a call to action. So I'll search for CTA, which is short for call to action. Okay, so I like this one here. I'll select that and then click insert. This background is black. I want to try something a little crazy and make the entire thing my pink. So I'll select this section and then go to style and I'll change the background color to pink. All right, so that's pretty strong on the eyes, but it does grab your attention, so I'll keep it. I'll change this text to say, try us and be impressed. This smaller text, I'll change to 50% off your first visit. And I'll also change the color to black. All right, so let's update those changes and see how that looks. First, I'll go back to the WordPress dashboard. Go to Appearance and Menus. And now I just want to add that Our Services page to the menu. And then I'll drag it up so that it's directly after the home page. And now Save Menu. And now I'll go back to my website and refresh this. Now we have the menu links that I wanted. And I'll check out the page that we just created. All right, so the page title area isn't bad, but I'm not 100% happy with that. But this is something you could spend quite a lot of time on playing around with until you get it exactly how you like. So I won't do that in this video, as it'll just make the video long and it's not needed since this is just a tutorial. All right, so the rest of the page looks good. I think that matches into my style nicely. I won't worry about editing the About Us page in this video since it's the same process as what we just did. But the last thing I do want to cover is customizing the contact page and making sure that when people submit the contact form that we receive the email. Now I want to customize my contact page. I want to make sure it looks good and also that I receive all the form submissions. Let's take a look at the contact page and see what we're working with. This is a nice, simple contact page. And since I am making a simple website for a business, I'll keep this and I'll just modify it a little. I'll remove this paragraph of text. This contacting information is nice. I'll update the colors and remove the fax number. The contact form, I will also like to have the option for them to enter their phone number, but not be required. Let's customize the look of the page first, and then we can look at the functionality of the form. In my WordPress dashboard, I'll go to Pages, All Pages, and now I'll select Edit with Elementor for the contact page. I'll delete that section with the paragraph that I didn't want. Now I'll edit the contact info. So the title is good. For the style, let's check what options we have. I think the default icons are a little small for my liking, so I'll change this to big icons. That's better. I'll update the text. This is the text under the contact info title. The whole contact info column is its own widget. You could delete this and manually create your own contact info section using the individual elements, but this one covers pretty much everything I need, so I'm going to stick with it. The way it handles each contact entry, like the fax, email, etc., is that any of these that have information added, they will appear. So if we don't want fax to show, I need to delete all the data entered into the fax items. I'll remove the title and the content, and we can watch that the fax item disappears from the contact menu, or the contact info. All right, great. I could change the address here, but I don't actually have an address for this demo business, so I'll just leave it as the default. There's no option here to change the color of the icons. I'll assume that this is using the default theme colors, so I'll change this in a moment. For now, let's just edit the social links here. I'll click on Facebook to expand that. And I'd enter my Facebook link here if I had a link. I'd do the same for Twitter. But the Google+, I want to remove this and instead add Instagram. So instead of deleting this, I'll just change this to Instagram. I'll click on Icon Library, search for Insta, and I can see the Instagram icon here. I'll select and insert that. I want my social icons to be centered, so I'll select the alignment to center. Now I want these to be my pink, so I'll go to the Style tab. I could change the color from custom to official, and it would use the social links official colors, except for the Instagram one, which appears black for some reason. However, I want mine to be all pink, so I'll leave this on custom, leave the primary color as white, and I'll change the secondary color to pink. And I'll also change the border color to pink. So that looks good, but when I hover over them, the icon still changes to blue. I want them to be entirely filled with pink and the icon to be white. To do this, I'll expand the icon options and I'll set the primary color to pink and the secondary color to white. Okay, so that's heaps better. Let's see how that looks on a tablet. I'll select the responsive mode and I'll set that to tablet. That looks good to me. Let's check it on mobile. Okay, so that also looks good. I'm happy with the look of the page now. I'll just need to set the default color for the theme to pink so that these icons don't show as blue. I'll update those changes first. Note that here, if I select the form for editing, it tells me that this element is a WP form, and this is the simple contact form. This will help us in a moment, so just remember that. Now I'll go to the menu and click Exit to Dashboard. Now from the WordPress dashboard, I'll select Appearance and Customize. I'm using Ocean WP theme, so for me, my default theme colors are under General Options and General Styling. I want to set my primary color to pink. And this actually seems to have fixed my coloring issue, so that's all I need to change. I won't worry about changing these other colors here as they're not showing for anything on my page. I'll publish those changes, and let's refresh our contact page and see how that looks. So this is good. This is nice and simple. I do want to change this title though to say Contact Us. So back in WordPress, I'll go to Pages, All Pages, and I'll select Edit on Contact, the normal edit link, not the Edit with Elementor. And here, I'll just change the title to Contact Us and Update. This won't change it on the navigation menu at the top. This will only change for the page itself. All right, so now let's check out how this contact form is working. Previously, we noted that the contact form was being handled by WP Forms. So let's open that. Select WP Forms from the navigation, then All Forms. There's only one form here, which is our simple contact form. So let's select that one, which is what we have. That gives us everything we need to make a simple contact form, which is all I want to do with this website. If you wanted to make a complex contact form, you can upgrade to the Pro version. That gives you a heap more options. All I want to do though is add an additional entry for phone number. So we'll stick with the free version. So the phone entry here is actually showing as a Pro feature, but I don't want to upgrade. So what I'll do is I'll drag in this name entry. I'll select it to edit, and then I'll just change the label to phone number. The format to simple, and I'll untick this required option as I don't want this to be required. I'll expand the advanced options. I'll set the size to large, and so that looks good. So the difference with actually using the phone input is that that would be validated to have to be a phone input, so someone can type in text. But because we're using the name entry here and just renaming it to phone, in theory, they could type in a name here or letters instead of just a phone number. I'm not too concerned for this contact form that this is validated, so I'm happy to use the general input. I'll edit this first name entry and change the label to your name. And then I'll set it to simple format. I don't want to force people to have to enter in their last name. That's not a detail I need for this form. And just having your name means that if they want to, they can enter in the full name. So let's take a look at the settings. I don't need to change anything in the General tab. So let's go to the Notifications tab. This is where we make sure that the email is sent to us after the form is submitted. By default, this is set up to use our admin email address. If you don't want the emails to go here, you can change this and enter in an email directly where you want this form to be submitted to. I'll leave this as my admin email. Email subject. This is the subject of the email that you will receive when the form is submitted. I want to change this a little and have something a little unique to the submission. Otherwise, every form submission will have the exact same subject. I'll change this to website contact form and then colon. And then I'll use the person's name after this. I'll use one of these smart tags. So I'll just click this Show Smart Tags to see them. Then I'll just select Name. This will add in what name they enter into the form, into the email subject. If you reply to the email that you receive from this form submission, it will be sent to the reply to address here, which is currently set to the user's email that they enter. So this is good. We'll leave this. The Confirmation tab is where we can modify the message the user gets after submitting the form. This looks good, so I'll just leave this and click Save. All right, so that's all done. Let's submit a message and see if we get the email. I'll refresh my contact page. So the changes are here, so that's good. So I'll enter in a name, number, and my email. And then a message. And then submit. So that's sending and done. Nice. Let's see if that worked. I can see I've received an email from me. Since emails are sent from the admin email address, it's sending myself an email. So message subject is website contact form from Scott. So the name works. If I open this, I can see that it has all the information entered into the form. So now our contact page is customized and functional. Now that I have finished my website, well, for now anyway, you can always improve and add more later. There's one thing left I want to do, and that is to run through the SG optimizer settings. And this is the SiteGround optimizer. This is where you can configure some of the extras like the super cacher. If you aren't hosted with SiteGround, then you don't need to worry about this and you're finished. Your website is ready to go. Let's open up SG Optimizer. From the WordPress dashboard, select SG Optimizer from the navigation. The first tab here is for the super cacher. It's already enabled by default for me, and I think it usually is for everyone. If yours isn't, you can just enable this dynamic caching option. Memcached is also an option you can use to help speed up the website. However, this is showing an error when I tried to enable it. So this feature needs to be enabled from the SiteGround account first before you can enable it here. Let's do that now. I'll open up a new tab and then go to the SiteGround website. I'll select login and log into my account. Now I'll go to the Websites tab and select Site Tools for my domain. Now from the menu on the left, I'll select Speed and then Caching. And now I'll select Memcached and I'll turn this on. With that enabled, we can go back to WordPress and turn on Memcached. And this time it worked, so that's good. So the next tab is Environment Optimization, which we're going to ignore. Front-end optimization, this one's a good one. I'll enable everything here. Basically, this shrinks files that are sent to someone that visits your website, and it also combines ones like the CSS files into a single file. Less files that are smaller is always a good thing. And this last option just stops WordPress from automatically generating emojis. And finally, let's check out the image optimization. You can enable this first option to have all images that you upload automatically optimized. But I'm going to select this second one here that optimizes all existing images. Depending on how many images you have, this can take a while. This lazy load images option here, this stops all the images loading straight away and loads images as they come into view on your screen. With this on, if someone visits your website, only the images at the top of the page are loaded straight away. When the user scrolls and a new image enters the screen, it'll start blank, but then it loads that image. So this is a trade-off. You're making your website load faster initially, but then when your page is scrolled, the images are blank and appear as they enter the screen. If you have a lot of images on each page, then you may want to enable this. But if you only have a few, like I do, I'm going to leave this off so that it loads them all straight away. You can also choose which images get lazy loaded, so you can change those settings if you'd like. So that's all for the SG Optimizer. Also, when changing any settings in this SG Optimizer section, I suggest refreshing your website for each setting that you change. Some of the optimization settings might mess around with some of your plugins or themes, and it may make it not work correctly. So just verify your website is still working properly each time you enable an option. Now that we're finished, the last thing that we should do is double check an option for the search engine visibility. From the WordPress dashboard, go to Settings and then Reading. So we got to initially set this option in the Yoast SEO wizard. This is that engine visibility option here. If this is ticked, then your website is asking search engines like Google to not show your website in search results. When your website is finished, you want to make sure that this is unticked and saved. And that's all, your website is complete. This tutorial series was on creating a very simple business website as quickly as we can. If you want to see other guides on creating other types of websites like shopping sites, membership sites, large information websites or forums, I'll be creating guides on as many as I can. So subscribe to my channel to be notified when I release more. And you can also check out my website at thewebsiteteacher.com. Everything I create will be added there as well.